Alrighty, what's up? What's up? What's up? How's it going? Jonathan here with Boston Collectors. And today's video, I'm super excited to get into it because I really like the clones and I also like Clone Wars. So, super happy to start with the unboxing for the Coruscant guards. I ended up getting two of these, not four, two. I got two of these. So, the other one I actually opened up yesterday before I went to bed, and I was able to sort of goof around and try to figure out the posing and how the posability of it and everything like that. So it'll definitely help me with jumping into it a lot quicker, because usually when I unbox the figures, everything is happening in real time. I don't, go back and check everything out first. It's all done right there. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this. So, right away, I am a big fan of the band. Like, yes, when you unbox this figure, yes, you should be looking at this, but for me, I'm looking at this band and it is glorious. Now, if you pay attention, if you look here, it's a lot deeper than the red here on the box, right? So that's a little bit of Photoshop magic, as you can see there. And again, going back to just the way that the colors look together, you have the yellow, the blue, the red. It looks phenomenal, very punchy. TMS 025 Coruscant Guard, and as we can see on the side, we have this really cool subtle pose going on. The band does not wrap all the way around, so if you're a new collector and you're wondering about that, there you go. It curves into the inside of the box. We have the Television Masterpiece Series, again, TMS 025, Coruscant Guard on the back with the warning. Nothing especially good going on there on the side, but it doesn't have to. And mind you, this looks really good on a shelf, right? Like to the side. I love these bands, but they don't do them for everything, so it's a bit unfortunate. But going back to the box again, we have the Star Wars engraved logo. We have the Coruscant Guard, and what's funny is that the this like weird hinge is even lowered on that picture. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into the insert. All right, so we have the insert here. And I'm so happy to see that they went ahead and they put two rather than one, because they ended up just doing one on the 501st Deluxe version. Don't you feel a little obligated here to pick up two? Yeah, why not go ahead and pick up two, right? Awesome insert art. I like the gradient, bringing forward the Star Wars TMS number, the Coruscant Guard. They look really cool together. The colors, though, the red is not this punchy on the figure. It's a bit more dull, and I'm totally fine with that. It looks a lot cooler than being so punchy here. So let's go ahead and get this figure out of the clamshell. And here we have the Coruscant Guard. So rather than just jumping straight into the box here, I wanted to show you how they have it straight out of the box. This is just the shell, by the way. So we have the accessory tray here, which again we'll get into this later. Then you have the extra casing on top where everything is sort of inside. There's nothing underneath it, as you can see there. So it's not like the Marvel figures. You have the instructions there on the bottom portion of the box. And yeah, now and now let's get them out of this box. And here we go. So look at this. The only thing that I'm not really happy about, and that's why I jumped to twist it so quickly, I don't like how loose that waist is, but I was really hoping that maybe it was just a defect on the one. But look at this. So freaking cool, right? Look. Oh man, that is so awesome. I love the look of this figure too. It's like, it's so dingy and dirty. Really cool. I feel like it's a lot dirtier than the 501st. I'm gonna have to bring those in in the last segment of the video, maybe throw some pictures up. I might do like a quick posing video or something to or a quick posing segment because I'm super excited to get these guys going. So we have the electro staff, we have the rifle, we have we have, I believe this is the carbine. Sorry, I think that's the carbine, and this is the rifle. Pegs, all this cool stuff that we're about to get into. This isn't going to be a long video, so let's get straight to it. Alrighty, so jumping straight into it, we're going to start with the weapons. Now, this is a particular weapon that we've seen across multiple pieces, starting with the 501st. I believe it also came with Commander Cody. Now it's coming with the Coruscant guards. We have seen this particular weapon multiple times. So it's pretty much standard at this point. I hate to say that it's standard and not really talk about much with it, but we've talked about this again several times. So it's nothing new. Weather, paint apps, everything I mean, it's pretty much the same. Speaking of same, we also have the carbine rifle here. The crosshairs are also somewhat malleable. Again, we sort of have this hinge-like thing going on both sides. I would like it maybe if there were a tiny magnet in there so that they can stick together a bit better. But overall, it's the same weapon that we've seen from the 501st to Commander Cody and so on. And the cool part of the weapon being the staff. So we'll talk about the other bits in a second, but I grew up loving characters who played with staffs and, you know, sort of kicked ass with a bow and everything like that. So seeing this it's like childhood 101 for me. But going a little bit closer in, you can tell that they have sort of like these grip ridges here. I also really love the dimension. They went ahead and added so much detail to it. So you have the deeper grooves here, sort of again a deeper groove there with a rise. And then you also have these sort of raised portions there on the staff. And then another cool thing, and I know it's like it's kind of strange to just point out, but you also have that very subtle rise, if you can see it, in the tip of that staff. Just this thing is really, really cool. So let's go ahead and plug the electrical bits on it and see what that looks like. And here we have it. Look at that. That is so freaking cool. I usually don't like little things like this, but it's just so well made. I absolutely love that. So I didn't put it on this end because I figured I would show you all how to do it. So it might be a little confusing. The end where the circle is encapsulated there is sort of enclosed. You want that to be facing out so that it can come down a little bit further. At least that's how I chose to do it. And it's very snug, as you can tell there, just based on the friction. It almost click in place. Oh my goodness. That's rad. We also have a few detonators. These will be going in my 501st backpack. So you have the sticky mine, and then you also have the whole detonator there. Jumping straight into the hands, I wanted to start with the gesturing hands first. So you have sort of a gesturing hand pointing or telling someone to stop. Then you definitely have a pointing gesturing hand here, maybe telling someone to go, etc., etc. We have these with the 501st, so this isn't new. And we also have the bow staff hands. So these fit very, very snug. And I actually like it that way. It's when they're in the hands, you're gonna have to be careful that you don't mark up the staff. I haven't done that just yet, but I feel like that's a possibility with it being gray and the hands being black. Be careful with that. Last but not least, we have the trigger fingers. I mean, this is another pretty standard thing, right? The rifle, blaster, pretty standard. We have the base here, Coruscant guard, as you can see, spelled properly. Very standard, very just blech. I spent too much money for this base to look so mediocre. This will be another video later on. I believe I talked about that in the channel updates video. And if you have not checked that video out, you can do so right up here. We also have the crotch cradler here for those of you who want to know how that works. You pinch the top part in, bring it up. Good to go. This part goes into the base, pose away. And last but not least, we have the instructions. I might just check these out anyway because it might be something extra in it that I'm not aware of. And we also have extra pegs because accidents happen and some of us are a bit more accident prone than others. Alrighty, and here we have the helmet on the Coruscant guard, which is very reminiscent of the 501st Phase 2 and the 332nd Ahsoka helmet, which you sort of see there in the back. I just kind of wanted to give a little bit of depth, so I went ahead and put my other Coruscant guard and the 332nd helmet behind the Coruscant guard. You've got that red, you've got the blue, you've got the scuffs. It's very different from the 501st in some ways while looking very similar. So turning on the rotating table here, you can sort of start to feel the difference in terms of obviously the color, right? And yeah, it's very reminiscent of the other pieces that we have already, but it's different, but not so different. But it definitely stand out in terms of next to that 501st, just whew, the colors look so damn good together. Plus, I'm just super excited to finally have the Clone Wars pieces coming out. Now, the visor, as you can see, reflecting that light very beautifully. The body, in terms of the neck, at least, because that's for another section, the neck and everything feels super stiff. Very nice to sort of get a decent kind of look to the direction of the of where the figure's looking, and it feels a lot better to me, in my opinion, than my 501st, at least the neck region. We'll get into the rest shortly, but whew, this is a really nice looking helmet. Alrighty, so here we have the Coruscant guard, and honestly, everything is pretty much the same as the 501st in terms of just posability and the overall feeling of the body, in my opinion. However, when it comes to a couple parts, like I pointed out, that neck in this particular piece is very nice. Holy moly. Now, one other thing that I do want to point out that is actually significantly different, in my opinion, is this hip region. It's very loose left and right. I almost felt like that there's an issue with the body, and I might try to just see. I guess I'll watch a couple other reviews and see if that's just standard. But it's a little too loose, in my opinion, where it almost feels like it's not meant to be that way. Now, there is one other thing that I do want to point out, which, mind you, look at the paint apps there. Really freaking good. This armor, for some reason, likes to ride up while you're posing, and you know it's a bit frustrating. Yes, but if you really want to control it, put the shoulder armor guards over it, and it'll hold it down somewhat. But be very careful that you're not, nicking or dinging up your figure, obviously. So as we move down, the joints in the elbows here and in the wrists, oh, so tight. Thank you. I love this body, apart from that waist. And one other thing that I want to point out. Now, there are ratchets in the legs, and it's when you're going forward and backwards. However, left to right, they're not there. Now, I thought that I was going to like that because the 501st bodies, they have the ratchets in the going left and right and front and back. And I'm not a fan of that. I feel very limited in my posing. While this is a little bit better, I still don't like the ratchets in the legs. But again, I understand putting them there because it helps the longevity of the piece. I'm just not a fan of it, but it's definitely better than the 501st, in my personal opinion. Now, moving on down, these leg guards can be a bit annoying when you're trying to pose and turn them around, and you want the figure to look realistic in the posing, right? You don't want the kneecap, or you don't want this part facing that way when it should be facing this way. For example, how it is right now. And that can be a bit annoying, but it takes a bit of time. I find that if you're new to clones and troopers, period, with this sort of this armor style, it's going to take a lot of getting used to. One last thing before we jump into the next section. So on this particular piece, I chose to go without plucking off the shoes because there were here. There we go. There were these little plastic bits here. Probably can't see it, but those little plastic bits, you don't actually have to pluck the feet off, okay? In fact, I recommend not doing it because I did it to my other Coruscant guard back here, and in doing so, I only removed one, and it was actually on this foot, and it is very loose, but the other one is very tight. Both of these are tight, and I refuse to take those boots off. So please listen, heed my warning. Do not take those off unless maybe I just have a bum left foot on the Coruscant guard here. Alrighty, so right out the gate, definitely a firm 4 out of 5 figure. Let's get into the things that I wish they changed up a bit first. Pistols, they would have been a great addition. I know, they're I've seen them like that, a couple of times. And if you look on the wiki, they have pistols. It just would have been a nice little touch. Another great piece, just slacking fists, man. Sometimes I like holding a weapon and having one fist closed, or sometimes I also like posing my pieces with both fists balled up. The midsection for me is a bit too loose, in my opinion. I really do feel like maybe having ratchet joints there would have been a lot better. First things first, before we get into the good, invert the electric prongs. I was wrong earlier. They go on the opposite way than I mentioned. So to me, this is a better body in comparison to the 501st. I prefer the ratchet joints going one way versus both left and right, forward and backwards. The Coruscant Guard is a dominant piece alongside the clones when holding their staffs. They look amazing with the 501st clones. Lastly, this is a great companion piece with Emperor Palpatine. The one I don't own. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you're able to pick up the Coruscant Guards before they're gone for good. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Catch you on the flippity flop.